Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on September 26, 2016. And well, this Raw started off a little bit differently than what you would expect from most Raws, because most Raws you expect some 20-minute promo right at the beginning of the show. No, this time you get a 35 to almost 40-minute segment that was a match slash beatdown with after the match, which was the rematch between Roman Reigns and Rusev from the night before. They go to double countout. I thought the match itself was fun. Obviously, they decided to go the double countout route with the potential of keeping the feud going and everything in that sense. They continue to brawl throughout the entire thing, again, it's like, eventually Roman Reigns gets the better of Rusev, hits him with a chair, hits him with a spear, hits him with a chair, everything in that sense. Like there was good back and forth between the both of them, with the Roman eventually coming out on the upper hand there. It's just an aspect that, like I said, the match itself was over around 30 minutes, and you get a double count. It's a little disappointing, but in the end, it continues the feud. And honestly, it starts off Raw the way fans honestly want Raw to start off, which is by having a match. You don't necessarily always have to start with a 20-minute promo to get everything going. No, you started off right into the action. I mean, with everything in there, and it lasted a good chunk of that first hour. Right after that, you had an in-ring segment with Mick Foley. He brings out Sheamus and Cesaro, talking about what happened with the best of 7. And lo and behold, what does he do? He determines it, and this is a very fiery promo. You got a couple very fiery promos from Foley towards Sheamus and Cesaro here. But in this segment of it, he makes them an offer. Basically, it's like, you will get a championship opportunity as promised, but you guys are going to get tag team championship opportunities together. And you got another backstage promo. It's like both of them trying to implore not to do this and everything to Foley, but he's like, he kind of explains, it's like, just give it a shot, Mo. One of those give it a shots. I also liked right beforehand, it's like, you guys are going to face the winners of Gallows and Anderson versus the New Day, and you get a stare down between both sides with like Cesaro and Sheamus get a stare down with both teams to go along with it as they're going out. Overall, that wasn't too bad. I thought those couple of segments actually came off rather well in there, and then it was kind of all taken away a little bit later by both, Stephanie McMahon and Seth Rollins in that sense. Then this is basically where how they're booking Mick Foley at this current moment in time. But also afterwards, like I said, New Day going up against the Club, another good match from them, and New Day goes over. They win again and everything. It just feels like they're kind of done with this Club thing, and WWE's just kind of booking them to put people over at this point in time. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be with them, or how much longer before they're going to just be jobbing out to everybody at this point in time. But this time they put over them more cleanly than they did the night before. But also, if you did notice, Kofi Kingston got massively busted open in this match, like very noticeably busted open. He gets the pin after a Trouble in Paradise, and like afterwards, it was like you see them trying to clean up his face and everything like that. It's like you had the doctors attending to him and everything. So they kind of, I think towards the end of that, maybe the match was supposed to go a little bit longer, but they kind of jumped to the finish right afterwards. With the factor of him being, like, he was cut open pretty good in that particular match. Up next, they had Bayley going up against local talent. They had Bayley win. It was a relatively quick match, but I think they're trying to play it off as, Bayley's still kind of is the underdog, so even the local talent kind of gets offense in on her. Like, she gets the person gets a lot of offense against Bayley, and then Bayley wins it with a Bayley to belly, and then cuts a promo afterwards. Decent promo from Bayley, probably one of her better ones since being up on the main roster. Then again, I've noticed this, and like I don't have the biggest problem with it because I've watched Bailey, the Bailey character develop from where she was right at the beginning, like 2013, 2014, go to that 2015, 2016 variation of her, which was a little bit more aggressive, but still the same character in the end. And that was also very accomplished and confident in the ring to go along with it. So what I'm noticing with Bailey is that they are rebooting the character. They brought her back down to that 2013, 2014. She's really happy to be there and everything in that sense, and just kind of, just playing the whole aspect of happy to be there and trying to be nice and everything in that sense. And they're probably going to rebuild it back to where it was. That's what I'm assuming they're going for. So I've kind of noticed that they reverted it back down. They're rebooting it to go back to where it was. They didn't want to just put that variation of the character onto the main roster. So we'll see where they go with everything on that. And up next, right after that, this was the first segment that basically reverted Mick Foley to where I think they're going with him right now. They're trying to make him like this. Well, I won't say incompetent, but very not authoritative. Like no one respects his authority in any way of anything. And it starts with a segment that he has with Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon basically gets on him for the night before because he decided to check on Sheamus and Cesaro after their match, and everything went out of control. And like Mick kind of puts a little bit of blame on Stephanie, so she goes off on him and everything in that sense. Of course, as usual, Stephanie McMahon putting herself over on everything to go along with it, doing her explaining everything. She's basically turning heel little bit by little bit in this sense. Like where the beginning of the brand, she was total face. Now she's kind of going back to everything, and you see it a little bit later on with when Seth Rollins shows up, because she warns Mick Foley about Rollins coming in, like she needs to protect him as a business asset and everything in that sense. So Foley confronts him, and Rollins just kind of brushes him off, and that's all it is in the end. And he even goes with a moment, it's like, I'm hearing the words coming out of your mouth, but all I hear is Stephanie McMahon in that sense. So basically, they're trying to make it to where like Foley's nothing more than just a puppet in that sense of everything. We'll see how everything plays out, and I'll talk a little bit more about where Rollins and Foley goes a little bit later on in the video, because they still have a couple other segments. The next one I wanted to go up with is because they did have a match with Sheamus and Cesaro after those two promos with Mick Foley. Going up against a couple local guys, and this will be an interesting one to see how long they go along with this tag team side of everything between the two of them. They could be the reluctant tag team, because if there's one good thing from the night before that they did with the whole no contest and everything in that sense, and the stoppage of the match, is that both guys afterwards were like forced to leave. They wanted to continue the fight, but the doctors were saying no at that point in time. Like both Cesaro and Sheamus had to be forced to leave, which was the good thing about how they did. They still depicted them strong. It's like the doctors are saying no, but these two would just want to fight at that point. So I liked how that came off. In this match, they were just trying to play one up on everybody, on each other. Like Cesaro would try to tag in Sheamus, he would drop off the apron and then just walk right back up there. And then, of course, like Sheamus would do something, and Cesaro would try to do something in return. It ended up coming off really good in the end. They're going to definitely make them almost like a tough guy odd couple for the tag team division, which might play off quite well. I mean, we'll see where they go with everything along with that. So, like I said, we'll see where they go along with everything on that side of things. Up next, you had a Charlotte promo. Basically, her coming out and saying, how she's the dominant force, everything. And it's like the way she comes off, like this heel character's coming off really good. She's coming off really good in the heel character. This promo she was doing came off really well as well. Sasha interrupts. Of course, she wants a one-on-one rematch, which she had never gotten. And of course, Charlotte plays it up perfectly as a heel. It's like, okay, I'll give the fans what they want, and I'll accept your challenge and everything. And it makes you feel like it's going to happen right now. Like, the fans are into it. It's like they're doing yes chants and everything in that sense. And then she's like, for next week. And it just sucked the crowd down right afterwards. It was great heel work on that side of everything. I like the back and forth between Sasha and Charlotte. They came off a lot better promo-wise this week. At least to me, they did. And then they brawl, and Sasha gets the upper hand going into next week's title match. You also have a couple cruiserweight matches this week. You had Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann going up against Gulak, and I can't remember this guy's name. Like, I'm still trying to get everybody's name of the cruiserweight division down, and they're still doing the same thing that they did the night before. They also have like the cruiserweight symbol on all four corners of the mat. I like what they're doing with the cruiserweights here. This tag team match, really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't that long of a match by any stretch of the imagination, but it came off rather well here, with Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann going over in this case. You also had some stuff with Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins. They announced another match for the week, but they announced another match between the two of them for the next week with TJ Perkins and Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight title. And then you had TJ Perkins going out there for a match with Tony Nese. And I'm going to say this here. I thought this was a really good match. I really do. And all I can say is, like, okay, the Cruiserweight division's still rather new to Raw. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. It was a very good match. And this was a Cincinnati crowd. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm from the Cincinnati area, by the way. That's where I grew up. I'm not going to defend what they did during this segment. All I'm going to say is there was a Randy Savage chant and a CM Punk chant. So my thought process is that these matches, to me, are really good, but maybe to the casual fans and everything in that sense, it's taking some time to get used to these style matches being seen on there. But I definitely, you can't defend what they did. I felt like it was like you're seeing a quality match, and they were just trying to put themselves over in that case. So it is what it is there to go along with it. But overall, TJP and Tony Nese, I thought was a really good match. And looking forward to seeing Brian Kendrick and Perkins again for the next week. So we'll see how everything goes on that side of everything. So, like I said, two relatively good cruiserweight matches go along with it. Like, overall, I mean, Raw still felt like something was off this week, and maybe it was an aspect of, you got a really good wrestling show the night before with the Raw brand, and you kind of, in this sense, in the terms of building stories and everything, you got another really good one here as well. And, like, matches were good, and things were fine to go along with it, and you have build for the next week, but something just felt off about the show. And maybe it's still the whole aspect that you have Seth Rollins and this Triple H thing, and they're still not explaining it in any way, shape, or form. Like, Triple H doesn't come up and say anything, and they even play it off like Stephanie doesn't even bother even having a conversation with her own husband about what he did. It doesn't come off good at all in any way. But this leads into the main event stuff for the night, which was the Chris Jericho highlight reel. And man, is he going... He's going all out with this whole list of Jericho thing. Like, he even brings out a clipboard now, and even on the back it says list of Jericho. And Jericho, you're still gold. You're still gold on that microphone, and as a character, it's just beyond me. Like, how he can change his character in so many different ways to make things working out. Like even the night before that he was singing "We Are the Champions" to with him and Kevin Owens, and they're playing off the whole best friend thing. I even like the aspect that he was like the Geritron 6500 or Geritron 5000, like how much it costs. It's like it cost that much 5 years ago. It just stuff like that, little touches like that. He just makes it work. And same with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is gold on the mic to go along with it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Seth Rollins comes out to interrupt. He gets completely stopped by security and take it to the back. So basically, they kind of allow Foley to assert some kind of authority. Like Rollins is taken to the back and everything in that sense, and completely stopped. So they make him come out at least a little bit stronger than where he was kind of brushed off and basically put down earlier in the show to go along with it. But as Jericho and Owens were continuing on, who did they get interrupted by? Enzo and Cass. And they come out there, they cut a promo, and it's like, and of course Jericho and Owens like, well, we don't even have a match with you guys. It's like, well, that's kind of funny. I was just notified by Foley that we have a match with you guys, and they have a tag match. So you have Jericho going up against Enzo and Cass, relatively fine main event with Jericho and Owens going over, and you know it is what it is in that sense of everything. Like they set up the next week with Sasha going up against Charlotte, and you have T.J. Perkins going up against Brian Kendrick. So you have 2 title matches going on for Monday Night Raw to go along with everything. You had what I felt was a relatively overall good show in certain senses. Like there were certain aspects that were definitely downs to the show as well, such as like how they were how the biggest down at this point to the show is, you know, 1 month ago you had Triple H come out and screw 2 people out of the Universal title, and there's been no explanation. Like I said, I've always liked slow burns. I've always liked a slow burn in a storyline, but it's getting to the point of like they need to do something with this, and they're going nowhere with it. It just feels like, oh, everything is transferred over to like Rollins and Stephanie McMahon or something in that sense, versus like where it's like, why did Triple H do what he did? Like no one's explaining it, and like I said, it even comes off to the point that where they even treat it as if Stephanie doesn't even have a conversation with her own husband about it in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, they're playing it off as, okay, Stephanie's probably going to turn heel or something in that sense throughout the entire thing. Is like she was in on it all along. More than likely, that's where they're going with it. But you're still expecting something, and you're getting nothing really. Like, and you get basically the same story each week. It's like, I had nothing to do with it. Okay, well, why isn't Triple H coming out here and explain? And it's like, nope, just gonna do nothing about it. Like I said, it's the only real down point to the show, and it really does hurt the show in the end, because people are expecting some progression with this, and you're getting nothing with that one. While you're getting progression with other stuff, and like I said, you're having some really good matches, and albeit you have like a 30-minute match with Rusev and Reigns and it ends in a double countout to go along with it. And, you know, essentially the club is, well, I won't say fully buried, but, you know, it looks like they're getting to the point that they're probably not going to be pushed to that top level on the tag team division side to go along with it. It just did not... like, something just off about the show. Like I said, matches were fine. Some of the promos were fine. You know, like, promos were fine in this one. Stories were building and everything like that. But yet, the show still feels like it's missing something to make it a really good show to go along with it. So, you know, that's just how I felt. Like, I felt that way the night before. I still feel that way now with Monday Night Raw. So, we'll see where they go with everything. And that is my review this week for Monday Night Raw. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.